I think what Greg mentions there is one of the things that we're always looking for, that sweet spot in conservation programming for children, which is material which, yes, you can hit so much more information than people ever expect. Absolutely. For young people. You can have all of the negativity can be there, but there needs to be empowerment too, and there needs to be positivity at the end. And to a certain extent, I mean, what you've done is kind of like the perfect practical conservation project, but it's also the perfect conservation film as well. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of young aspiring filmmakers in the room today. First of all, how did you come to make the film? Talk us through a bit of the process, and also how can you be a model for what others might want to achieve in filmmaking?
How did I come to make the film is a really interesting question, and I think they'd be much better to answer that. I went to them and said, hi, I have a plan without a plan. So Roundglass Sustain is one of India's, it is India's only conservation content platform. And they very much cover stories that go beyond the average sort of TV content. So when I took it to them, we didn't know which direction this was going to go, but it was very important to me for the story to be authentic. So I said, look, I want to partner with you guys, but are you okay with this in going in any direction? And I think Samreen was absolutely instrumental in that, saying that, Ash, I smell a story, just go for it. and we did. So that was the process of how we went about sort of this film. And what was the second part of your question again?
It's, I guess, asking how what you've done and achieved could be something that anybody else out there could do.
I think the most important thing to remember is that there are stories everywhere. Conservation begins at home, and there are stories everywhere. You don't, as young people, you do not need to be far away in the Amazon or the African savannas, or even so far diving with killer whales. You don't need to get there first. So the first most important thing I'd say is that look where you are. You're going to find stories where you are. And being able to do that will empower you to be able to tell those stories within limited capacities and tell good stories, because trying to achieve something somewhere else at an early stage in your career can get quite overwhelming. And just to add here, Steve, this might come as a bit of a shock. This is a tiny, less than student budget film. This entire thing was made for £5,000 probably. That was the entire budget of this.
That's my makeup budget.
Yeah, that's the makeup budget. That's my point. So films can be made in a small budget, but where you are. So I think most importantly is to look where you are, and
that was what I was kind of hoping you were going to say. That is the bit that really hits the nail on the head. So when you get to a commissioner, the two really annoying questions that they ask of you as a potential filmmaker is, why now? I hate that question so much, but you get asked that over and over again. And why you? Why is it that you should be fronting this project? And that sense of investment, that sense of doing something that is on your own patch, that you've come up with, that you are already invested in, is the thing that any commissioner is going to go for. That's what they want to know about. They're not interested, particularly if you're just started out, in saying, I want to go on an expedition to a part of the world that I've never been to before. I know nothing about it, but I think it's going to be cool. No, they want to hear, this is something that I am bringing to you that I know about better than anyone else, and I can tell this story better than anyone else can. And that's why your film is an absolute blueprint. That and the empowering positive ending, which is what we're all looking for in conservation television. To any of you out there who are thinking about doing this, those are the kind of things that you need to hit when you're in front of a commissioner.
Absolutely.